When I was thinking of canned goods as just like a side hustle, just my little brand, I would only think in terms of side hustle. So now I'd only buy like 30 shirts and be like, okay, I just want to sell these 30 shirts. And I'd DM like, and just people around my school and be like, hey, you should repost this. But then when I changed my mindset to, no, I need to be prepared to making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, not just $1,000 a month. All of a sudden I was taking all my own personal money and dumping it into the brand to buy 10,000 shirts. And I wasn't DMing just my buddies to shout them out. I was DMing influencers online, and I was telling them how this is the next big brand. And I was going on TikTok posting every day because my mindset changed. I wasn't just in charge of this little side hustle company anymore. I pictured myself as a CEO of a large apparel brand that needs to hit their goals by the end of the quarter, and stuff like that. And it's just how you format your thinking can really change how success comes to you and how the thing you've built grows.
What's up, guys? Rich here. You're listening to the 2610 podcast, a place where we aim to share, along with the help of our guests, best practices you should be using in order to grow and scale your business on social media. If you find this episode useful, then please share with a fellow entrepreneur, founder, marketer, or anyone else who might also get some value from it, and let's all grow together. With that said, let's jump straight into it. Welcome back to the 2610 podcast. We've actually been away for a while, but we've not died. We are in fact alive. Scott, it feels good to be back, and I know you'll be excited for this one as well, because the guest that we have on, who I'm about to introduce, has a clothing brand, and we all know how much Scott loves a clothing brand. So, without further ado, I guess, Easton Dana, am I saying that right?
Dana.
Must be Dana. Dana, like Dana White, right?
Yes, like Dana White. UFC.
Like Dana White. Yeah. So Easton, sorry, I was going to say Dana there. So Easton is the founder of Jeez, I've messed this up so bad. He is the founder of Canned Goods Clothing. We're so rusty. And it's a clothing brand that has went viral multiple times over on TikTok. Guy's a genius. I'm sure we're about to learn a load of things. So Easton, tell us why you're here. It's actually, fun fact, Easton is my mum's maiden name.
Wow.
For anyone that cares. It's weird, right?
Well, Rich, I wouldn't say I'm a genius, but I will say that I've definitely I've definitely been paying a lot of attention to specifically TikTok and other social media outlets over the past few years, and I've definitely carefully curated every part of my own product and brand to fit the idea of how to go viral on TikTok, and that kind of idea. For anyone who doesn't know, Canned Goods Clothing, my brand is called Canned Goods because we actually seal every single shirt inside these little recyclable aluminum cans. You pop them open like little soda cans. So you pop it open, and inside you have your shirt, which is not only just a fun, unique way to package shirts, but it really hits on our brand's message of sustainability and anti-plastic. So in high school, I was looking for a solution to just normal, bland plastic packaging that's hurting our environment, adding microplastics, getting in the ocean, stuff like that. And I wanted to create a brand about ending plastic and solutions and alternatives to plastic. And I decided I'll just put all my shirts in recyclable aluminum cans, and really hit home on that message of there's packaging can be more than something that's just thrown away.
That's awesome. That's a great way to, introduce your whole thing. Aluminium, by the way, for anyone that's listening from the UK. Aluminium.
Yes.
So, no, but that's sick, man. That's so cool. And like I mentioned, Scott's a big fan, actually.
Oh, massive fan. Yeah. We've had like previous podcasts that me and Rich will always come up with like a scenario, and my scenario is always, if you can start a clothing brand. So yeah, we finally got someone that has a clothing brand.
Yeah.
All right. My first question is, how did you come up with like the idea, I guess, for the whole like canned idea? Because it's quite unique, I'd say, like the whole can side of it.
So I'll start by just kind of giving you my background of the type of stuff I was doing in high school. So sophomore, junior year, I was a bit of a hustler. You know, I was an entrepreneur. I liked cars, and I really wanted to buy a Mazda Miata, which is this tiny little baby car. but I didn't have any money, of course, and my parents didn't want to buy me one. So that's really what kicked off my entrepreneurship journey. Of I got to find some ways to make money. I wasn't even old enough to have a job, so I started flipping and selling sneakers, shoes like Jordans, Yeezys, those kinds of shoes. And that's where I really learned how important like social media is in order to like hype up a product. And beyond social media, the product itself, I noticed how important packaging was. I would notice that the shoes that I was selling to all these people, they would take the shoes off, wear them, but they'd keep the box and hang it up in their room like a Nike box. And more specifically, some shoes would come with custom specialty boxes, like specialty shoe boxes that had cool, fun designs. And people would collect the shoes just to collect the boxes. So when I'm reselling these shoes, I'm realizing, geez, all of these shoes have fancy boxes, and people actually like the packaging just as much as the actual product sometimes. And they're collecting it, of course, as they collect the packaging. That's the shoe company's brand name that's constantly in their room. And also the different types of packaging are helping these shoes go viral on social media as companies are promoting them. At the same time, I had a buddy who was an influencer on TikTok. I guess you could say he wasn't a huge influencer. This was 5 or 6 years ago, but he had like 150 or 200,000 followers, which was a good amount 5 or 6 years ago. And he wanted me to help him run his merch line. So that's where I learned, okay, he's got a platform. I need to figure out how to build out a website, find manufacturers, best way to print the shirts, all this type of stuff. So I kind of have my own sneaker hustle and working for someone else as their brand, the person who runs their brand at the same time. After a few months of doing this, my buddy eventually quit TikTok. He kind of fizzled out, got bored of it. And so I couldn't run his brand for him any longer. And that's when I was like, I could just start my own apparel brand. This doesn't seem too hard. I mean, he got a lot of his sales from doing viral stuff on TikTok. It seems like if I can just figure out TikTok, I could make some pretty solid money doing my own brand. Of course, everybody, when they want to start a business, always they want to start a clothing brand. Everyone and their mom has a clothing brand these days, and I recognize that. And I was like, I cannot be lost in the sea of clothing brands. So I had to figure out something that separates myself, and would make my brand different. And that's when the thought process of packaging came in. Even though everybody has different designs and different cool ideas behind their brand, they're all just shipped in the same bubble mailer. And opened up out of plastic little Ziploc baggies that might have the company's logo on them. And I figured, okay, that's where I can be different, and that's where people will recognize that difference, and that's where I can create a viral product that will go viral online. So from the beginning, I was really thinking about how can I make the product something that goes viral, because that's going to be the hardest part, is getting social media virality. So I actually started just as a skate brand with me and my buddies. We would go skateboarding a lot. So it used to be called Easy Skate Co. After my name Easton.
I see this on your Instagram.
And I liked the name Easy. And one day we were just all chilling at the skate park, and somebody had like a can of baked beans or something, because people just do random stuff at the skate park. And I figured, why can't we just put shirts in cans? If we can put food in cans, there's no reason I shouldn't be able to roll up a shirt and put it in a can. And from then I got some prototypes. I got a big can sealer from overseas, had it shipped to my house in this big wooden crate. Got some cans, and I started experimenting, rolling up Easy Skate Co. shirts and putting them in cans. And that's where the whole can idea started.
Wow,
that's so sick. So I was being genuine. It's like a level of genius, like I say, like he was really thinking outside the box, or in this case outside the can. That was terrible, but like, it is true though. Like you've really tried to come up with something unique, and it is unique. Like I've not really seen. I don't think I've never seen anything like this. It stands out, like and I think this is the key here to anyone that's listening. We always say it, Scott, but like the key for virality, especially within like e-commerce, actually like product selling on TikTok in particular, is like the visual aspect. If it stands out on its own, it looks really cool, then you're always going to do well. And I think that's exactly what you've nailed. And yeah, it's awesome. It's so cool. I've got a question though. do you only put one shirt in a can, or do you have bigger cans, or will you have bigger cans coming?
Yeah, so I started the brand just doing shirts and cans, and that's what I've been doing up to now. But as we've grown, well, I'll start by saying the first hurdle to come over is if you want to use a different size can, you have to buy a whole new can sealer. Because sealers can only seal one type or one size of can.
Yeah,
but
and then
as
it'll
I
probably come. The problem then as well is like shipping too, right?
But
Yeah, okay.
as I've been growing, I'm now able to invest in larger can sealers, and we've been doing some research into different size cans and such. And going into this winter, in fall, we're gonna be doing hoodies and cans, so they're gonna be bigger, like coffee cans.
Wow.
So big collectible cans that you can put up like on your shelf, hold
That's
like
so cool.
baseballs, basketballs, whatever, big coffee cans. We'll be doing like crew necks in cans, socks in little tuna cans. And then also
sick.
diversifying the products as well. So beyond apparel, we're gonna do like plushies in cans. So we found people really like cute little stuffed animals that revolve around nature. So like little bee plushies, shark plushies. So we're gonna doing like plushies in cans, and the plushies themselves, kind of like Build-A-Bear, will be wearing canned goods shirts. So you can buy a plushie
Sick.
to match your shirt. And this is gonna be super good for the holidays, especially as they're gonna make for cute little gifts. Giving someone a little plushie, the can is like their house, the little plushie's house. They're gonna be wearing the canned goods shirt. It'll encourage people to also buy the shirt and match their plushie, and also encourage virality online, as I think that's also a really unique idea. Just because not only do you not see plushies in cans, but you don't see plushies with matching shirts that you can match with. And I think people in our demographic, especially teenage girls, just love the idea of cute little plushies, especially with like the Squishmallow trend that we've been seeing. I don't know if you guys have heard of Squishmallows.
Never know.
Nah, me
They're
neither.
pretty big in the
Squish.
U.S. There's like these little stuffed animals that are always sold out. And it got to a point where a few years ago people were flipping them and reselling them online.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that a
Interesting.
what watch are you wearing?
Me? This is a Seamaster.
I had a Speedmaster, so I was like, that looks
No
like
way.
a Seamaster. Yeah, I thought that was sick.
Yeah, very nice, man. Very nice. Very nice indeed.
I feel left out that I'm not wearing a watch.
But you
Yeah,
got
come
the
on,
sick
Scott.
tat, bro.
Thanks, man. All the way up.
Dang, a sleeve. That's crazy. I was thinking I almost got towards the end of my college year, because I built this entire business out of my dorm room, and I had all these boxes stacked up on my bed and all these cans in my room and shirts in my room. Like towards the last half of my year, I couldn't even sleep in my room. It was like my warehouse, my factory. So I'd be sleeping in buddies'
No
rooms.
way.
But this is when I really blew up and the company really became a company. So I almost got my room number 613 tatted on my ankle as like a way to remember the original canned goods factory. But then I decided
you
against
should-
it because I thought people might find it a little weird. I had my freshman dorm room tatted on me.
Oh,
I'm
man.
sure,
You should see the back of my leg then. I got my my first ever flat number on the back of my leg.
You might have just convinced me. If you're doing it, maybe
There
it's
you
cool.
go. Yeah, man. I want to see it. I want to see a picture within this year.
All right.
Just a little subtle like appearance in one of the TikToks.
Yeah, exactly. It'd probably make for a good TikTok.
Yeah,
Hey,
for
there we
sure.
go. Making content.
There's a
together
story
now.
as well, like, you know, you build a whole story around that. Like you do a little vlog, go in there, and then you can say, and then you can introduce a story as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. Anything for content, man. That's what you got to think.
Anything for content. Content's king.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've got another question for you. I mean, we've got lots of questions, so so hope you're ready for them all. You keep saying we. You say we a lot.
Yeah.
I know. Before we went on air, Easton's cat made an appearance. Apparently, he's a vice president, very serious role, obviously. Who is we? Obviously, your cat, yourself.
So I say we because when I started the business in high school, I would always say we because I wanted to seem bigger than I actually was.
Okay. That's smart though. That's
Because,
smart.
you know, going into my senior year, it was just me in my room, and like I would buy the cans, seal them up myself, print the labels myself, cut them out, tape them on the cans, ship them out to everyone. But I wanted to seem like, you know, legit. So I'd always say we, kind of referencing me and the company. The company is like its own separate entity. But going into the last like few months, now that I see I realize like I've actually built out a team. So I have like a CFO running our finances, someone who manages we have a team of email marketers, a team of people who run our ads. We have not one but two fulfillment centers now, and people canning stuff over there. We got content creation team. Like now that I say I realize I've got an actual team behind me. But in terms of the people running the brand day to day, it's still just been me and my cat.
It's really impressive. And your don't forget your cat. What's your cat's name?
His name's Bill.
Shout out Bill.
Bill
looks
the
like a good
cat.
guy. Bill's got it all under control.
Just touching on that, then you saying like it's just you doing the content side of things. What does I'd say Monday to Friday, but I'm not sure what your days are, but what would a working week look like for you then?
Yeah. So it's very different from when I'm in school versus when I'm over the summer. In school, Monday to Friday is super, super hectic because I'm trying to balance school life with work life. So I'll be hopping on meetings probably Monday, and then getting out of that meeting, running to class, showing up 20 minutes late, and then leaving 20 minutes early because I got to go meet my manufacturer and go over new samples or something like that. So Monday's a lot of like preparing and talking about stuff. And then of course every single night, no matter what day it is, it's always making content and content creation. Like I set a goal for myself in April to make 3 TikToks a day, which is kind of exhausting. It's a good amount of TikToks. So every day, even if I'm doing just monotonous stuff that I don't think is that entertaining, I'll just record B-roll and snippets of it, maybe do a voiceover later. If I'm not doing meetings or like doing samples, stuff like that, I'm usually on my computer, either making tweaks to the website or doing a little bit of my own design work or just answering emails. But one of the biggest differences between now and a few months ago is I've really been able to offload a lot of my work onto others that I brought onto the team. And I think that's one of the most important things you can do as a business owner is find the tasks that you think not only do you not like as much, but that you're not confident in and you don't find yourself as an expert in. And then bring others onto the team to do that for you. Because not only will that free up your own time, but then you'll have actual experts doing the tasks that you're weak at. So for example, I'm not super good at finances and in mathematics and in controlling books and data analytics. So one of the first things I did once I had a lot of capital to work with is brought on my own CFO who manages all my data analytics and finances. And now I don't have to sit at my computer toying around with the Mac. Or once I had my first big order, my big run of orders, I completely outsourced the manufacturing and shipping process to a local print shop here in Arizona. So now I don't have to ship out or print, label, and ship out all the shirts. I have someone else doing it, and that frees up my time. And that's because I heard once the difference between a big business and a small business is a small business, the founder has to be there 100% of the time to run it. The business doesn't work without them. But a big business, you just need to be there to guide the ship and steer and make decisions. And you just surround yourself with people smarter than you, experts.
Yeah.
And that's really where I want to be in terms of my day-to-day workflow. It's just making decisions and letting the smarter people do the work for me.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, you hear even Mr. Beast said that as well. Probably a Mr. Beast viewer. Just given your age demographic, I'd imagine Easton. But yeah, he was a big believer in that as well. He was always like, yeah, just outsource everything that he didn't like doing, or everything he was too time consuming, everything that he wasn't that good at. He would just give it to other people to do. And yeah, it's a real, like you say, it's a real. It is a challenge to let go. Sometimes I feel like a lot of maybe founders and like people are passionate about their thing, and trust is a big thing. And letting go is tough, but if you can find the right people, letting go is only going to allow you to, like you say, go on to bigger and better things. So little message in there for sure. I just went onto your website, and originally I typed in canneddgoods.com, and that domain is for sale for $20,000.
It's funny you bring that up. We've actually had our eye on it. I'm gonna be honest. Since like February, I decided, as I'm branching out beyond just apparel and Also, not only do we make our own apparel, but other companies will come to us and we'll do custom cans and merchandise for them. So like schools, influencers, restaurants, brands, stuff like that. And we'll do custom stuff for them so then they can help build out like their own sustainable image and stand out. So I was like, we're really more than just a clothing company at this point, a clothing brand. I really like the name just cannedgoods.com. So I went on in February and saw that just to get the domain, it was $20,000. And I tried some negotiation and some lowballing I'm not that proud of, and they didn't seem to budge. But I'm still waiting for them to give me maybe a little bit of a discount. And the end goal would be to just be cannedgoods.com, because that's a lot cleaner of a domain. It's a lot easier to remember. And it really sets us as just more than just a clothing brand.
If anyone listening to this podcast at any point decides to buy canned goods just to upsell you at some point down the line, that's bad. That's bad. Don't ever listen to this podcast again. There's people that do that, you know, like they literally will study like celebrities, like celebrities get pregnant or whatever, and then it's like they guess their kid's name and then they go and make like a Twitter account, and then they sell their Twitter account or like the website or something. It's wild. It's a crazy world we live in. Which is a good segue to one of our biggest talking points I would like to talk about. You would like to talk about, Scott. You would like to talk about it as well. We are living in a world where I guess it is very different to what it was 20. See how I did that? See how I just pivoted?
Very nice.
Smooth. Thank you. We're not that rusty after all. But yeah, it's a very different time. 20 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible, what you're doing right now, Easton. What we're doing, myself and Scott, like this isn't a thing, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what my question is, just overall thoughts. Like, what would you be doing, right? If you were, what age are you, by the way, Easton?
Just finished my freshman year.
Which is, for us UK brains, 19. Okay, cool. So you're 19, but going on like 40 with the brain you have, like, it's incredible. But yeah, so like if you were, say, born 19, so maths today, I've done a lot of work at the computer. 20
It's 23 right now.
Okay, so you were,
I was born in 04.
born in 04. I was going to say 03. Okay, so ultimately, if you were born in 1980, what do you think you're doing?
So
right
I
now?
come from a long line of news broadcasters and news anchors.
No way. Anchorman.
Yeah, so my great-grandpa, my grandpa, and my dad are all news anchors. So I'll tell you right now, if I was born in the 80s, I'd be a classic early 2000s news anchor. And I think because my family's kind of surrounded by it, I have a pretty good public speaking and able to speak on camera and kind of get my point across. And I think I do like performing in front of the camera, so I think I'd still love to be a news broadcaster. However, I'm super glad that instead I'm able to translate those skills into 2020, the 2020 career atmosphere, where if you're good at speaking in front of the camera, you're not limited to TV. Everyone has a camera with them in their own pocket, and now you can broadcast yourself using other platforms besides just cable, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all sorts of stuff, and there's different ways to monetize that now. Instead of before where you had to go with a news channel and that sells ads and then you get a salary from that. Now you can be your own channel. You can decide what to sell on your own channel. You have way more control, and now there's just so much freedom for people who love creating content and love public speaking and getting their message across in front of a camera.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Are you quite a confident? I feel like you're quite a confident guy. Like, it's
yeah,
not
maybe
just on
sometimes a
camera,
little bit too confident for my own good. I get a little overconfident sometimes.
Give us an example, Easton. We want to get to know you.
We want to get down to it.
Let me see. Let me give you an example.
Well, while you think, right, what we're trying to do here with this podcast is, like, think how cool it would have been to see Mark Zuckerberg when he was building Facebook.
Yeah.
No,
like,
definitely.
on his first podcast, like, or someone like, I don't know, like anyone, Steve Jobs, right, on his first ever podcast before, like, you know, And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring in like young entrepreneurs that are doing like really incredible things, and then who knows where you'll be in like 10, 15 years. So right now, this is a pivotal moment. Like what, like this is something that can be a reference for years to come. So be careful what you say, but also, yeah, make it good.
I can't think of any overconfident moments right now other than like
Nothing that got you into
I
trouble.
used to what?
Nothing that got you into trouble.
Well, I will say I used to be a little when I was like 14 years old. I used to be an overconfident white boy rapper, and I would make these little I'd make these little raps on my iPhone to YouTube like trap beats, and I got into a lot of trouble when I did diss tracks on my teacher, and they went viral around the school, and then I got kicked out of a few classes and had to take summer school. So I will say sometimes I just get overconfident and start just putting stuff out there.
Yeah.
But I've learned to tone that back and really analyze everything I do and think, okay, will Easton appreciate this 3 months from now, or is only present time Easton gonna appreciate this?
That's a good way of looking at things.
It's also really cool you bring up the well, who knows what could happen 20 years from now? That could be like super successful, and it'd be interesting to see that story. And I totally agree, and that's why for the past few months and for the next few years, I have not only am I in the process of creating my own like YouTube channel and brand to document the entire process, because I think actually building up a business in terms of the entrepreneurship finance side of YouTube isn't featured enough. A lot of the stuff you see on YouTube when you wanna be an entrepreneur is drop shipping or forex trading, day trading, that kind of stuff, like quick get rich quick schemes. But I think there's definitely an opportunity for me to create a whole channel around what I'm actually doing building this business, how I'm going and talking to investors, getting on meetings with sales teams, talking about strategy and how I'm going to approach the next season. And I have a buddy who's been following me around recording the type of stuff I do. And all like the raw aspects behind it as well, like some of the decisions that probably don't paint me in the best light, with the plan to build out an entire documentary to release a few years from now, depending on where the company is, about how I really built up this business and kind of all the raw aspects behind it and the stuff that I can't post immediately because I have like certain deals with brand deals and partnerships that I can't talk about. But 2-3 years from now will all be fair game. And that's really the plan is show how people build online businesses, like how they really build it, not just what they show on YouTube or in front of a camera, and the type of stuff you have to do and negotiate, and the type of people you run into and talk to in order to become a real solid brand and company that's that. And I just don't think that aspect of building brands and companies is shown or highlighted.
Tapped into enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Me and Scott, we bang this drum a lot.
Yeah. So often. Yeah. And it absolutely blows my mind. And I said the exact same thing when we had Brandon on the last episode. You're only 19 years old, and this is the mindset that you have, and that's so good. I mean, at 19, yeah, I mean, I'll just say that I wasted my life. And you're at 19, and you've got this vision of building a long-term goal of this company, like the documentary. Like that's crazy how you've got that far ahead with your thoughts, and that's great. I think I say this to Rich all the time, always think big and aim for the biggest stage that you can get to.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in a mindset where you're thinking of the end goal as the possibility. So, and this is something when I shift my mindset recently over the past year, and this is where I noticed a lot of success. When I was thinking, for the first few months of building the business, if I could just sell 20, 30 t-shirts a month and make $1,000 a month, that's good solid side hustle money. And then I can have like $15,000 more to play with every year. But if you have a side hustle mindset, then you're only going to build a side hustle company.
This is why I not despise side hustles. I get it, but yeah, the whole side hustles are just blown up. That it's like been the word of the last year, right? It's just been like the everyone's banging on about side hustles and stuff, which I get, right? Like it's fine. People want security. They also want to earn a bit extra money, but like I do feel like it's a bit more than that, and I would encourage anyone listening right now, if you are doing your side hustle, like you said there, take that leap. Just you've got to send it. Like you've just got to be all fucking in. Like you've just got to go. Because if you don't, you're just like half-arsing it. It will always be just a side hustle. It'll always be something that's just doing a little bit. And to be honest with you, I couldn't imagine anything worse. Once that novelty wears off, it's just going to be more stress than it's actually worth, to be honest. For an extra few quid a month or year, it's just, I don't know. It would eat away at me, to be honest, knowing that something's there with potential and I'm just not doing anything with it. That would drive me insane.
100%. Yeah, like, you think bigger. When I was thinking of canned goods as just like a side hustle, just my little brand, I would only think in terms of side hustle. So now I'd only buy like 30 shirts and be like, okay, I just want to sell these 30 shirts. And I'd DM like, and just people around my school and be like, hey, you should repost this. But then when I changed my mindset to, no, I need to be prepared to making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, not just $1,000 a month. All of a sudden I was taking all my own personal money and dumping it into the brand to buy 10,000 shirts. And I wasn't DMing just my buddies to shout them out. I was DMing influencers online, and I was telling them how this is the next big brand. And I was going on TikTok posting every day because my mindset changed. I wasn't just in charge of this little side hustle company anymore. I pictured myself as a CEO of a large apparel brand that needs to hit their goals by the end of the quarter, and stuff like that. And it's just how you format your thinking can really change how success comes to you and how the thing you've built grows.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, like Scott said a minute ago, I shadowed that like 19, but you're thinking, so big, and it's awesome to see. I just want to touch, really interesting, if we just like motor back a little bit, like you said, you've pretty much got your own D-Rock, right? So anyone listening, Gary Vaynerchuk's got his own videographer who just used to follow him around all the time and just like document everything. And essentially that's what you're saying you've got going on. What was the sort of, I know you said there's an opportunity for that and you feel like there's a gap in the market, but I just want to, because that's brave. Like I know, right, as a business owner, like there's days where I couldn't think of anything. Like there's days where it's just like fucking, you're just great. You're in the, no, I hate that term, right? But you're kind of in the trenches like a little bit, and you're not, right? Like at the end of the day, you're sat at a fucking laptop and you're not really doing a whole lot. But at the same time, it's difficult. Like your mind is bamboozled. And if there was someone sat over my shoulder with a camera, it'd be like one of those, celebrity outburst moments where I was just like, get it, throw it on the floor, smash it up, stand on it, chuck him out. Yeah, it would be carnage.
Yeah, no, definitely. And maybe it's because I'm kind of a bit of a psychopath, and I like talk to myself. I talk to myself a lot, like even when nobody's around, and just kind of pretend people are listening because it helps me think about stuff. I think when you like narrate your own problems and your own the things you're trying to overcome, it helps you like think about the situation from a third person point of view. So yeah, if I have somebody recording me brainstorming or recording me just driving to a factory, I'll just start talking and be like, okay, here's the issue I need to overcome. This manufacturer is doing this at this price and they're only meeting this demands. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we need to negotiate it. And then I think, and I could also tell them about this and use this as leveraging power. And I'm able to use the idea of thinking my ideas out loud and talking to another person about the decisions I'm going to make. And it actually helps me think about them from another light. It's like writing in a college essay and then reading it out loud to get a better idea of what you're actually thinking about and what the end goals you actually need to meet are. And I think, and again, I just love that idea of being able to see into the brain of somebody who's building a company and like for other people, like I would love to see that on YouTube or see like a Netflix documentary about the person who built DoorDash, but from when they didn't know DoorDash was going to be huge and they were just a dude hustling, driving, meeting investors, meeting software developers every single day, and how they really thought, because it's so hard to predict whether a company is going to be successful or not. Nobody sought to really document this process.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it as well. I'm the same. I'd love to see that on YouTube, things like that. I'm so invested when it comes to the story of the build up to things, and like you said there, to see some of these big like companies and see where they actually started would have been so interesting. And I feel like you taking that idea now is perfect for where you are at this stage of your journey, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And it also highlights back, I think canned goods Um, or when I think of canned goods, on the business side of things, on the brand side of things, what I love about it is the sustainability aspect. So it's helped bring a lot of attention to plastic and plastic in our oceans and pollutions, and we're carbon neutral. We donate to remove a pound of plastic for everything we sell. And then we also get people talking about it and other companies reaching out to us, and we change their packaging on that end. But when I think about what I'm actually selling, it's more than just shirts in a can. It's the idea of like a plastic-free environment. And when I really sit down, I think canned goods isn't just an apparel brand. It's a content creation company. It's creating the feeling of okay, I can do something to help the environment, and creating content on TikTok to help promote this. Because my sales and my revenue directly correlates with the amount of engagement I'm getting on TikTok and the amount of views I'm getting. So really what Canned Goods is a content creation company and a media company that instead of making its revenue off of ads like normal media companies, it makes its revenue off supporters who really believe in the idea of a plastic-free environment. And because I recognize that I'm able to create a solid content creation company like that, that's why I'm really wanting to branch out into my own personal brand and create my own personal story. But instead of selling the feeling of understanding you can really help the environment, I'm going to be selling the feeling of understanding you can really build a company, and it's not as hard as it takes, or it's not as hard as it seems, and really what it takes and the ins and outs. And that's what I'm really excited for as well. Everything in this era of 2023 is all just about content creation.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. And I think it's a really powerful message there is, sell more than just, people get so, I think you look at any well put together product or any successful product, you take Apple again, for example, or Nike, right? Like every single high-end successful business product has been built around selling more than just the thing. Like it's never just the thing. It's so much more than that. Like you don't just go out and buy like a Lamborghini because it's fast, for example, right? It's the status that comes with it. It's the feeling of it's all the little intricacies that comes along with it. And I think you're dead right there in terms of you're selling so much more than that, and people will invest. It's much easier to invest in a message than it is to just like, oh, I like that t-shirt, like, and just whatever. And I think that's an important note, probably to go back to what I was saying before, like, even selling 5 shirts in a can, like it doesn't really, you're not offering any more of the thing you're actually selling, it's just more t-shirts. Like if people aren't that interested, maybe, and I mean all due respect, but if people aren't interested in the actual t-shirt, I mean they are, right? But like they're more interested in the actual message that you're sort of building it around and what you're doing and having the can, then more t-shirts in the can isn't going to make much difference. So yeah, it's really interesting when you start thinking about it, the psychological aspect of it too. I didn't really have a question though. I was just thinking out loud. I was taking notes from
Easton. That's the best way to brainstorm, is just start thinking out loud. Just start talking to yourself.
For sure.
Yeah, you should see Rich when we're on calls. You can see when I'm talking to Rich, and he sort of he does it. When he's doing it, he does that look up, and then he starts just saying things, and I'm just sitting there waiting for the follow up.
Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt the episode. I just wanted to say really quick that over the last few months, myself and the team here at 2610 have been working super hard on a book that will no doubt change your entire approach to social media. It's packed full of incredible information and value, and we cannot wait to share it. With that said, we want to reward you, a viewer, a listener to this podcast, by giving it to you completely for free when it becomes available. You really don't want to miss this, so click the link below and we'll be in touch. Now let's get back to the episode. Another thing you said, like, how much have you learned from YouTube? Like, because you're talking about a lot about like teaching people on YouTube and stuff like that. So like, how much have you, because you can't, like, you've got a can compressor thing that, you've not, how did you teach all yourself? Was that all through YouTube?
Basically, the best way to learn is from others who have experience in this space, no matter what you're doing, whether you're playing sports, Like, you know, that's why all basketball coaches used to be NBA players. Whether you're doing any type of aspect or any industry, mentorship is super important, because the number one way humans learn is through mistakes. So if you're being taught by someone who's made all the exact same mistakes you're gonna make, then they can provide so much more valuable information. And that's what YouTube is amazing for, is because when you go on YouTube and you're being taught something by someone, other than like, you're being taught by someone who's done the exact same things they've talked about and they have experience in that field. In contrast, if you go to university and you're being taught by a physics professor is taught physics, right? But your career goal is to go into rocket science. And this physics professor isn't a rocket scientist. They just know physics. But they will be able to mentor you or teach you on the ideas of, this is really what you need to do in rocket science, and this is the political field of rocket science, and this is who you should be talking to get a job in rocket science, and this is the stuff you should look out for, and this is the type of budget you need to be thinking about. Because they're just a physics teacher. Yes, they know how to do physics on paper, and they know how to prepare you for the test for physics, but they haven't been a rocket scientist, and that's what your ultimate end goal is. But on YouTube, if I want to build an apparel brand, I can go and I'll find someone who's actually built an apparel brand themselves, and they say, these are the type of manufacturers you should use. This is what they'll say to you. Don't listen to them. This is what you should be posting on Instagram and TikTok. This is the stuff that's worked for me. And then I can apply that on YouTube to every aspect of my business. So from building out my Shopify, developing my store, figuring out how to allocate my budget, figuring out where to get my apparel printed, figuring out how to do designs, everything is learned from internet and YouTube. And the other big super important thing, and I'm doing a lot of contrasting to just the stuff I see in here in college, just because I'm in college. But another big thing that the internet has an advantage of over traditional learning, if you're trying to learn a skill, is the internet is so much more up to date with current trends and the times we live in. So like, for example, the internet's you're going to be able to go on YouTube and see a video posted 3 days ago about this TikTok ad strategy that's working. Just because the TikTok algorithm happens to be developed in a certain way and updated in the past few days that leads to this. But you go to university and they're always going to be 5 or 6 years behind, because the moment they learn about the TikTok algorithm and TikTok ad spend, it has to pass a board who approves curriculums, and then the professors need to be retaught on it. And a lot of these professors haven't even been in the industry, like physically working in the industry they're teaching in for 10, 20 years. They've just been a professor for the past 10, 20 years. And so they're not up to date on how much everything's changing. But the internet is always up to date, because the internet rewards good quality and recent content that other people engage with. And so you have to use that to your advantage to take that good quality content and learn from it. And you're going to learn so much more off the internet than you are going to a 4-year university, especially in the field of business and creating your own company. And that's just why I love the idea of people on YouTube teaching. A lot of the entrepreneurs I watch on YouTube are there's a guy named Bia Heza who I really like, who really taught me how to learn this kind of stuff. You know, you talk finances. There's Graham Stephan, who will kind of break stuff down and implement like recent trends and what you should be thinking about. Just to name a few. But yeah, the landscape and the advantage the internet has over traditional learning is crazy.
I agree. Yeah. I think it's, again, something me and Scott talk about a lot as well. It's something that don't get me wrong, and if there's any sort of aspiring doctors out there, please don't skip university. It's
different for every industry. If you're a doctor, please go to college.
Yeah, exactly. Learn how to do heart surgery on TikTok is probably not going to work out well for you, but it's all sort of like, it's all relevant to what you want to do. And I think, like if you're wanting to get into social media, especially marketing, or starting a business, stuff like that, like, don't get me wrong, you can go to business school, you can do these things. It's going to teach you the basics, but there is more to it. And what university doesn't teach you is what the real world's actually like. Things happen. This, Easton, things happen in your business on a daily basis that probably a lot of people have never even faced before, because it's unique to you. And as a business owner, as a first time founder especially, it's like, well, fuck, what do I do in this situation? You've got to make decisions on the sort of in the moment, and no one can help you in that regard, especially university can't. For sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I was about to make a really good point, but I completely forgot it.
You're good. You can sit on that point and think about this while I ask you. Think about it while I ask you this. What is, because see, for young people at university, college, school, whatever, it's a difficult time. Like I remember, I mean, I didn't have a particularly hard childhood, but there was a lot of people around me who, did suffer. And I know there's a lot of people out there now, especially with internet being such a huge factor in all our lives. It's difficult. And you strike me as a very confident person. We spoke about it already, but like, what's it been like for you? Because there's surely like people in your class and stuff like that, people close to you or were close to you, and have you had any like sort of, what's it been like overall? What's the reception been like from people? What's it been like from, people who are teaching you all of this sort of thing? Like, have you seen anything negative, or has it been somewhat positive?
Well, I always hear the exact same thing, and you guys have already said it a few times, which is, oh my gosh, you're so far ahead of all your friends and peers. Wow, you're only 19 years old. Wow, guys, this guy knows what he's doing. But like at the end of the day, I'm just kind of following YouTube tutorials and posting TikTok comments posting TikTok videos. And I don't think I'm really that far ahead of everyone else. I just have like different hobbies than other people. So some people, they and like in high school, some people just love basketball and they get really good at basketball and they get super ahead of all their peers in basketball. They become the top 1%, in their age group for basketball, and they go D1 because of it. I just decided the thing I decided I wanted to get really good at is business. So I dedicated every day to figuring out more about it, testing different business ideas, in creating a brand. And now I'm the top 1% in my age group. That's in terms of the business world. The only difference is just there's less kids who are figuring out entrepreneurship and how to build a startup than there are kids playing basketball. So I don't think it's really that crazy, and I don't think I'm as impressive as everyone says. I just think I happen to be less. I think you happen to see less people like me, and that surprises a lot of people.
Are you still finding time to go skateboarding? Yeah, I see on your Instagram when you started Easy, you said.
Yeah. So
you was doing a lot of skateboarding.
And I'll tell you about what changed from Easy skate code to now. As I was doing the cans and I realized, okay, this is actually a great substitution for plastic. And a lot of people were saying that. I wanted to grow bigger than just the skate niche, just skateboarders. And a lot of things I think about is like a brand like Supreme. They used to just be a skate brand, but now most people who wear Supreme have never touched a skateboard. They grew bigger than just the skate niche. And I wanted to do the same thing as well. But I wanted to really make a social impact, in terms of something I could do like for sustainability and bringing attention to a cause greater than myself. And that's when I thought, okay, the packaging's already sustainable. It's a great alternative to plastic. Over the next few 10, 20 years, plastic alternatives are going to be big. Let's build the entire brand around this concept. So that's when I rebranded to Canned Goods. I made all the designs nature themed. I started donating to remove a pound of plastic with every shirt and a can I sold. And then that's when I also started helping other companies do the same and packaging their apparel in merchandise in my cans, so that they could also be sustainable, and then helping them donate to remove pounds of plastic, that kind of stuff. And that's when I really made the switch, and that was this last summer.
Do you because I noticed that as well, before we even came on here, I saw a TikTok comment and it was someone like, oh, I've never seen, products packaged like this before. And then you were like, hey, if you want help packaging yours like this, like reach out. And that surprised me, I'll be honest. I don't know why it surprised me, but like there's an element too of, do you not fear that if you were to do it for loads of people and then it starts to like become semi like common, and then it's like you don't stand out anymore? Because now you're different, right? But you run the risk maybe of not being different, I guess.
So, of course, one of the ultimate overarching fears I've had in the past is, okay, well, this is obviously a great idea and people love it. What happens when other people start putting their stuff in cans? And I talked to a few lawyers and figured it was basically inevitable that people could do it if they wanted. So then I
So you
went
might
back.
as well do it, right?
Yeah, I thought,
You might
okay,
as
well,
well
if
be the
they're
one doing
gonna
it.
figure it out themselves, I might as well do it for them, and then I'm profiting off of it, profiting off of people copying me. So I've made these deals with my supply chain that basically says, okay, my can supplier, you're only allowed to sell cans for me if the cans are intended for apparel and merchandise. And the person I get my labels from can only sell to me if the cans are intended for apparel and merchandise. And then I've cornered that side of the market to where they give me super low prices and there's basically no competition. So if someone wanted to try and copy me, they wouldn't be able to find any manufacturers that would work with them since they've signed deals with me. And at the same time, even if they did, they'd have to outsource it to China or something, which isn't as sustainable. I get my cans here from the U.S. I get my labels here from the U.S. And then it also saves on shipping. So they wouldn't be able to do it for the cost I'm doing it at. So their only choice really is to just come to me, and I'll be able to do it for them for cheaper than if they were to try and do it themselves, because I'm also wholesaling thousands of cans. And if they would want to start, they'd have to start with an order of 100 cans or so, which would be greatly more expensive. So now I've kind of sort of built this market where if you want to do cans, I'm happy to help you. You know, I'm happy to help you become more of a sustainable brand, but come to me and I'll make sure we do it right. And I'll make sure that you're able to do it more affordably. And so that's how I've kind of impacted that issue. So, you know, if they become common, that's great, because one, canned goods will still be remembered as being the first. And two, every brand that's using them is still going through me. So I'm okay if they become common. In fact, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great because, you know, we're promoting sustainable options for packaging.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? It's the message at the end of the day. And yeah, that's the mission. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Here's me just thinking from a selfish point of view, I guess.
And that's another big thing, though, is one of my big beliefs is, like, if you want to make the world a more sustainable place, you have to think from a selfish point of view, because humans are wired to think selfishly. Not only are the companies, but the consumers as well. So before canned goods, I noticed if a brand wanted to use sustainable packaging, their only option was like a cardboard brown paper bag looking sustainable bags that might have like a word on them that says like, this bag is compostable. Yeah. And yeah, that's sustainable, but ultimately it costs the company more money to produce those bags and buy those bags than just traditional plastic bags. And that upcharge is going to be reflected in the end price. And then the consumer, most of them aren't really going to want to pay more money just because it comes in a one-time compostable bag. Just because there isn't enough value to the consumer there. Even if the consumer cares about sustainability, a lot of consumers won't care enough to actually spend more money. So what I did is I thought, okay, I have to make sustainable packaging that actually has more value than just being sustainable. So the cans are recyclable, but they're also collectible. They can also be reused. They also are unique. They encourage virality. So that way, even though the ultimate packaging is more expensive than plastic, just like traditional biodegradable packaging, it also has the advantage of providing more value to the consumer, so they're willing to pay more money. And that's an example of, like, okay, if you think about the consumer selfishly, you know, they don't want to pay more money, they just want more value. And you think about the producer selfishly, they want a way to sell more product but not have to sacrifice money, then you can actually meet the end goal of creating something more sustainable. So I think it's great to sometimes think selfishly, because that's how everybody is really thinking. And if you want to make a change and a difference, in whatever industry you're in, you have to think selfishly. How is this gonna better everybody involved as well as the planet?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, solid
Wise
message
words
you have
once
there.
again.
Yeah, wise words again.
So, I guess the question probably that's on everyone's lip. How long have you been doing this for?
So
That's
yeah,
not
like
the question that's on everyone's lips.
I'd say I started Easy Skate Co. in high school. Kind of ran it off and on throughout my senior year, but I wasn't really making any money. And I've been losing money all the way up until around February, which is when TikTok started taking off, and I really narrowed down the best way to post content, my content creation strategy. And then February through March, it was doing pretty okay. I was somewhat profiting each month, but nothing that could be full time. And then throughout March and April is when I really narrowed down TikTok, built a following, and then throughout this past summer, I've just blown up. And that's when I've been using the fulfillment centers and building out a team and actually creating an actual business.
Interesting.
I
So
was going to
this
say
is the
as
question.
well. Oh,
Go, Scott.
no,
Go,
I won't.
go,
No, I won't
go.
answer your question because I know what you're like. You'll forget
Okay.
it. Go, shoot.
So the question I guess that will be on everyone's lips right now is, and you don't have to answer this exact, just an estimate. How many sales have you made? Like how much money, moolah, through organic? Just
I'll
organic.
tell you
Like, would
our
you say,
best day.
rough?
So I posted a TikTok, and I posted a TikTok.
Is this a 1 million, 1.2 million one?
Yeah, but this was like the day I posted it. It only ended up getting like, for that day, it only got up to maybe 800,000 views.
Okay.
But I posted it the night before, and
Right.
and then I woke up and I woke up the morning and I had $50,000-$60,000 in sales just that morning, just from the
Jesus
TikTok going viral.
Christ.
And that's when I realized, all right, bro, TikTok's the way to go. And then it would just keep growing from there. And then that's why I've just been posting viral TikToks. And once you have one viral TikTok, you kind of get an idea of the formula that your audience is responding to. And then you can also do what I like to call retargeting, which is you take your first viral TikTok that you post, and then you start doing a bunch of video replies in the comments. And every time you do a video reply in the comments, other people who have already seen your first TikTok will usually see that video reply in their For You page as they're scrolling. So then it's basically a retargeting ad for everyone who's seen the first TikTok. And then you're on people's minds more, and they're more likely to purchase. And then what I do from there is everyone who's seen the TikTok and purchased from that TikTok, when their product gets shipped, they get a little note card that says, hey, thank you so much for buying the product. Help support us, help support our movement. And now you post a TikTok about your experience opening the can and about the mission. And based on how many views you get, we'll pay you out like $100, $200, $500. So now I get thousands of orders from one TikTok, but then I get thousands of people posting TikToks organically about my brand from that original one viral TikTok. And when the algorithm sees thousands of people using your brand as keywords, then it also boosts all your original videos, because all of your original videos have those keywords that everybody is talking about. So
you're essentially just like that. You're just like, fast tracking like UGC content. Like you're just hacking UGC content.
I don't want to pay for UGC content. I want other people to produce it for me. Paying for UGC content is just so ridiculous these days. People will be charging $200 to $500 for one post, and they have like 2,000 followers, and you're like, I mean, I guess I'll do this for 500 views. But if you leverage your brand and your mission, and you really get people who support your brand, which is what you want out of UGC, is you want people who actually care about your brand, not people who are being paid to do it. Then you're going to see so much better results and engagement and enthusiasm from the actual content.
Because it's actually genuine, right, as well.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of answered the question that I was going to lay to you, which was, do you ever get creative blocks for planning content? And I think you've answered it. You don't. You repurpose everything. You get other people to create content for you. But I guess to go more in depth, like some of your videos, you have really good storytelling, and it's kind of leading the way to like your documentary style. Do you get creative blocks in that side of your content?
I mean, I'll get creative blocks in content for sure. And that's why the best thing you can do in just business in general is go see what your competition's doing. Go see what's working out for them. So I'll go and I won't say the brand names, but I'll have 5 or 6 brands that are in a similar niche as me and have a similar audience. And I'll just see, and if one of them has a viral video, I'll just copy it and just change up the script to fit my stuff. Change up the B-roll, and 9 out of 10 times it'll also go viral. One of the best things in business is just find what other people are doing and just do it slightly better, and then you've got the advantage. And that's what I've been doing to avoid writer's block as well.
Do you read much, Easton?
I read a lot of
books.
books.
Do you get time to read? Yeah. You ever read Steal Like an Artist? You ever read that one?
What's it called? Steal Like an Artist?
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but I've heard the idea of it.
I'd recommend it. It's pretty much what you just said there. Like every idea has been done, and
exactly.
Yeah. One question. I mean, so many. I keep saying one question. There's loads. This video down here is more. It's very different. It's like more of a sort of animation type video.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
So that's the power of leveraging your audience and building a brand that people really associate with and enjoy. That
Someone made
video,
this
as well as a
first.
few others, were just sent in by people who just made it because they love the
Wow,
vision. And they
that's
said, hey, you
sick.
should post this. I made this because I really support what you're doing. And that just, again, goes to show if you can build a brand that is bigger than yourself and has a mission that other people align with, people will be happy to help you out for free and just to help push your vision along and make content for you for free. So that's just another example way to think selfishly to help the greater goal. Think, okay, if I'm building something greater than myself and helping the earth, that also helps me because more people will align with my vision and want to help out.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like these videos as well, they're so good. Like the actual animation.
I also
is
noticed that
insane.
you use AI voiceovers as well in some of your videos. Are you using just because it sounds a bit familiar? Are you using 11 Labs?
Everyone's using 11 Labs is the way to go. But I will say it's kind of just the content creation trend right now to use 11 Labs.
Yeah, it is.
And just kind of got to hop on that. But I will say it makes a league's difference. I do some consulting for other businesses in their TikToks, and there was this one business that was a golf-related business, and they had a great story, and their script was great, and their B-roll was great, but they weren't getting any views. And I was like, bro, you're using the traditional TikTok voice that's built in the TikTok algorithm, and everybody's tired of that voice now. They hate it. They see your TikTok. The moment they hear that tone of voice, they just swipe. So I just had them do the exact same script in a new TikTok, but with 11 Labs, the AI voice. And while their first TikTok with the TikTok voice got 100 or so views, this one got hundreds of thousands just because it uses the AI voice.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good.
We actually work with a golf brand, and we've been doing the same, and we got hundreds of thousands of views for them. We've been using the AI voice, similar thing. So yeah, maybe when
I was actually against that as well. When Rich mentioned it to me, I was like, no, we don't want to go down the AI route. We use the AI voiceover, and it was over like 100,000 views, and I was like, okay.
And they were getting nothing before. It was literally like 50 views a video and stuff like that. But then we started seeing other golf brands doing it, and we were like, fuck, we were the first. Like, we actually done that.
Yeah.
We were the first.
And I think a big thing is
Easton copied us.
Everybody talks about the TikTok algorithm and figuring out the TikTok algorithm. The TikTok algorithm is the most simplest thing ever. How from what everything I've experienced is how it works, and the reason why a lot of videos originally will get only 200 or 300 views and then stop at that number, 200 to 300, is because the algorithm picks usually a random sample set of 200 to 300 people and then just shows them the video. And then based on their viewer retention, how long they watch the video or how long they just swipe away, maybe if they give comments and like the video, then it'll choose to push out your video to tons of other people. The real trick to getting a viral TikTok is the human algorithm in our brains. So that's what I think about when I'm making my TikToks is, okay, tell a story, because that's how the human algorithm operates. That's how you keep viewer retention, is people listening to a story. Use the AI voice because it's different than just the TikTok voice. That'll get people to stop and listen. If they just hear the normal TikTok voice, they'll immediately swipe. Use quick jumps, because that's what gets people's ADHD brain constantly looking. Have funny comments and controversial comments, because that gets people scrolling through the comments and engaging. The goal of every TikTok should get that first 300 people that TikTok shows to engage as much as possible, and then that's what fuels your growth. The TikTok algorithm isn't this mysterious thing that only cares about what sounds you use or what kind of colors are in your video in order to push everything else out. It's all about figuring out the human algorithm.
I hope everyone listening had if you weren't writing that down, just rewind about 3 minutes, get a notepad, get a pen, and write down every single thing that Easton just said, because that was gold. And yeah, completely agree. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've touched on quite a lot here. Let's tap into that a little bit more. So when you say that you want to get those 300 people engaged, those first 300 people engaged, what sort of things are you thinking about? I know you mentioned story. I know you mentioned something a bit controversial, but like, how would you piece it together in your mind? Like, are you focused on the hook so much, or is it just like the overall pacing, or what is it like? How does your brain work? Describe it.
I think about what they'll relate to usually. I'll think about what they're recently thinking about, like the TikTok audience. So that's why trends are super interesting. So like and I haven't been posting in a while. So, and the reason I haven't been posting in a while is because I've been getting too many orders. So we've had to slow down the amount of orders we're getting just because our fulfillment team can't handle it. And my content creation directly correlates with sales I get. So I haven't posted in 1 or 2 weeks, purposely to try and slow that down while we get ready for the next big rush.
Does that worry you?
Sorry?
Does that worry you?
It doesn't worry me because I know even I'm still getting tons of sales, and a lot of that is because other people are posting about it.
Yeah.
What worries me is the fact that I'm getting tons of sales, because right now lead time from when you place an order is like 4 to 6 weeks. And the number one most important thing in a business besides the product is the experience, the product experience.
Yeah,
and
and
in
the
that product
speed,
experience is actually your shipping time, and from clicking order, how quickly you get the product. And right now that's horrible. My product experience is horrible because it's 4 to 6 weeks from when you place your order. So a lot of that is finding challenges in the fulfillment system, seeing how we can print shirts faster, how we can rework the model to ensure people aren't taking forever to get their actual product, their actual shirt. So that's why I've been posting less, and I'm still getting tons of sales, which is just another problem in itself. But I know it would be even worse if I was posting every single day, like I had been doing a month ago. But if I had been posting every single day during the whole submarine fiasco with the billionaires, I would have been posting like 3 TikToks comparing cans to submarines or something like that, because that's just what's on people's minds. You have to think, what are people thinking about right now? What can they relate to? Or like during school season, talk about school, talk about ways to hide your notes to cheat in your cans, something like that. And then just, of course, once you have an idea of the subject you want to follow that everybody will relate to, then you build a story around that. So then it's not, then I would think, okay, let's not do ways to hide notes in your can so you can cheat. Say, I remember I got 100% on my test because of this can. And then you talk about the story of you put notes in your can, and your can was just sitting at your desk, and your teacher didn't even know what it was, and you just glancing at it every once in a while, and really engage with people that way. And then you get tons of comments about people saying, hey, cheating's wrong. What are you doing? What are you thinking? And other people saying, wait, where'd you even get this can from? You said it came in a shirt. What's going on here? So I guess that's an example of how I would brainstorm a TikTok. First, think of the overall subject you want it to follow. Then turn that into a story. Make sure it's relatable. Make sure there's some controversy there. A real example that I've done of a TikTok that's performed really well is I know people just relate to my age, being 19 years old. A lot of my demographic. So, or a lot of my best performing videos, I'll start and I'll say how I built a successful brand at 19 years old, just out of high school. And then that's how I get people to think, oh, wait, I'm 19. I'm just out of high school. I want to build a successful brand. Let me watch this. And then I tell the story. And, in that story, I talk about, the can and the idea of the social impact and the sustainability. And then I'll reference, and if you get shipped this can, I'll remove a pound of plastic and send you wildflower seeds. But then I get tons of comments of people going, how will you know the wildflower seeds aren't invasive? How do you know they're not gonna attack the environment? And I know they're not, and I could say they're not, but I leave that kind of stuff out so that it creates comments. And then other people are replying to those comments. So that's an example. And that TikTok, I've done a few variations of that TikTok idea. Has gone, I think, 8 or 9 million views now.
Wow. And this is where corporate goes so, like, corporate businesses, this is where they fuck up. Like, this is where they can't keep up with personal brands. And I know you're a business, right, first and foremost, but you're essentially kind of like a personal brand in a way, because it's like you, and you're just pumping out this content, and then you're building the product obviously around you and your ideas. You've not really got like I'm sure you do behind the scenes, like some sort of legalities and stuff like that, but you've not really got like a legal team like saying, no. But if this was a corporate business, like huge, big time, mainstream, from maybe not what we'll see in 5 years' time, but like 10, 15 years ago, even now, like businesses that were huge, I work for one, and they are still huge. And like, the amount of times it's like you get one bad comment and it's like you've got to reevaluate your whole strategy just because you don't want to upset one person. And like, it would have to be dealt with there and then. It's like there's just so many restrictions from corporate businesses. It's just like, let it go, have fun with it, build around, like you said, the virality. Think about all these things that trigger that virality, because that's ultimately the end goal. Well, it's not. It's like making sales from it, obviously, but like the end goal of content is getting the virality, right? And all these things help aid that.
And I'll say another thing. You talked about me being like the face of the brand, and right now I am leveraging that. But the ultimate goal is I don't want to be the face of the brand. I don't want people to immediately think of me when they think canned goods. Because when it comes to like selling a company or something like that, if I were to want to sell canned goods to someone else who would want to align with the vision when I'm ready to let go of canned goods, they don't want to buy it without me, because I am canned goods. I am the vision. So one of the things I've been doing is like outsourcing to content creation teams who kind of have other faces in the mix. And also, I don't remember where I heard this, but you never want to build a brand off of a person.
Sure.
Because people can ruin brands. People can get DUIs. People can get into fights. People can say bad things on Twitter that come back 15 years later and completely ruin a brand.
Make a diss track about their teacher.
Exactly. That's not something you want the owner of a company to do.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want to. I love running a company, but I want to distance myself a little bit as the face of the brand, just because I don't want the entire brand to be leveraged off of me, and that kind of thing.
Is that your end goal then, to sell it?
I wouldn't say it's my end goal, because you should never build a business with the end goal to sell. Because if you build a business with the end goal to sell, you're not building it for the long term. And even if you want to sell, nobody wants to buy a business that isn't built for the long term in mind. But I always think about the opportunity. And I think if somebody were to approach me with an offer and the time is right, I'm happy to let go of canned goods and build my next idea, because I always have tons of ideas. And I think it's building a business.
Share any of those?
Once you built your first business, what'd you say?
Do you want to share any of those? Or are they keeping them under
it's a
wraps?
lot of. I won't share the idea, but I will share the formula that I think the successful business, or my next successful business, will follow personally. One, it will be software based, because dealing with inventory management and dealing with physical product and shipping times and supply chain is such a pain, and it's super hard to scale physical product businesses with a software. And if you want to scale from 100 users to 1 million users, you just have to buy more server space. With my business, in order to scale, I have to buy more factories and hire people and figure out manufacturing and figure out shipping logistics, which is such a pain. So it's going to be a software. Two, one of the sad truths of our world right now is the wealth gap is growing like crazy. So something like the top 1% of the wealth, or of the world, have like 30% of the wealth. So they have all of this money to spend. And the largest valued company in the world right now is LVMH. I don't know if you know LVMH. They own Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all these luxury brands. And the reason they're the number one brand right now is because all of these wealthy people have more money than they can actually spend. So they're just buying the most expensive things they can and being super frivolous. So I will create a product that will market to the ultra wealthy, because they are the ones with money to spend carelessly. And then number three, it still needs to be something that is bigger than myself, because that's what really gets attention, and that's how you can feel good about building a business and actually change the social atmosphere of what you're doing and bring attention to something important. So that's the framework I think of when I think of new business ideas, and where I would go from here.
Got you.
Seems like a solid structure.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I've got a question though on top of that. So you said you're having fulfillment issue at the moment, but the next thing that you build would be targeting the super rich and wealthy. The reason why Louis Vuitton, like, there's no, I mean, it's obviously like better quality than, you're going down Walmart or something.
But not
for
by
your
much.
American viewers, but not by much, right? So my point here is it's just more, it's more rare, right? So would you ever consider like just making canned goods like more of a
Yeah, add
like
scarcity
a
to it.
yeah
Oh, but I've thought about doing scarcity, and that way, and then I could raise prices. The idea is like it's easier to sell, or it might not be easier to sell, but it's easier to fulfill 10 orders if you're selling them for $100 each than 30 orders
yeah
selling them at $10 each or whatever. You make more money and it's easier to fill it. However, the reason I don't want it to go with a scarcity model, and I've thought of it before, is because a big part of my product is it's an impulse buy. So people go on TikTok and they see it and immediately just go, "Oh, I want that," and buy it. But if it's constantly out of stock, people won't be as excited to buy it three weeks from now when it's finally in stock, because it won't be on their mind, because it doesn't follow that kind of impulse buy behavior of when something's always in stock and you just click buy. And that's why I
True.
haven't done the scarcity model as of right now. And also because going back to the idea of sustainability and the idea that you can buy something that's completely that's printed here in the United States, made locally, shipped locally with zero plastic, that should be accessible to like everyone. It shouldn't be very expensive and only accessible to the ultra wealthy or always out of stock. It should be accessible to all sorts of people
facts
and anyone who wants
yeah
to get involved in
yeah
the process.
yeah great point. Okay, I mean we've covered a lot here. I feel like we should do like a rapid fire, like little, just finish off.
Yeah,
Just,
sure.
I just don't know what. I don't. I mean, I don't know what you say. Yeah, sure. I don't have any questions lined up. So,
Yeah.
the most important part of a video.
The most important part of the video is the first 3 seconds, the hook, the thing that gets people actually watching. Most people swipe within 3 seconds of seeing a video.
Okay. Call to action or no call to action?
The way I've done it before is no call to action, but what you do is in your video replies in the comments, or you can write a comment that says, "By the way, we're having a sale right now. By the way, go check it out." But if you do a call to action in the video, it seems more like an ad, and people will recognize that and not be as encouraged to buy it.
Scott, help me out. I can't
Oh,
think this fast.
Your brain works so quickly. I did not keep up with all that. You was rapping them out. No, I did have like an actual question before you thought of the rapid fire sort of segment. What would you say to any brand or business starting up that is not on social media right now?
I mean, just like how 50 years ago you couldn't get your brand name out there unless you were doing commercials or doing newspaper ads or something like that. You're not going to get your brand name out there unless you're using social media. The only difference is social media is completely free, and you don't have to pay for that kind of space. So get on social media, and if you're not personally on social media as a business owner, outsource to someone who is and actually knows what they're doing and knows the type of stuff to post and how to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said it. I agree.
Favorite food?
Yeah.
This is a drink, but I drink about 7 to 8 LaCroix a day.
LaCroix?
Yeah, do you know what LaCroix are?
Never heard
You
of
might
it.
not have them over in the... Do you have Bubblies in the UK?
Is this like a sparkling
water, yeah.
Sparkling water.
Yeah.
LaCroix is
These are-
the
you guys
American version of
love-
sparkling
love
water.
this. Yeah,
I am
okay.
so hydrated.
0 calories, 0 sweetener, 0 sodium.
It's literally just sparkling water. There's nothing fancy about
Well,
it.
And this is not an ad in any way.
It's not, but I'll let it
What's
be an
their
ad. I will give
socials
free
like?
advertising to LaCroix any day of the week.
Yeah, what's their socials like? Are they on TikTok?
I don't know, but I need to get them on TikTok. I need to do a LaCroix X canned goods collaboration. That would
I
go
mean, they come in
crazy.
cans, right? So you could put something like
Hey.
inside the can.
Oh, and the other idea I
Alright.
have is shoes, boxed shoes in a cardboard
Okay.
box.
Oh, okay.
Got ya.
Now we're going somewhere.
Um,
Do you ship to the UK?
I do, but it's a bit expensive because it's international shipping. So that's another challenge I've been trying
Okay.
to figure out, how to make international shipping cheaper. One of the things I'm doing is there's a print shop in Ireland owned by like a family. It's a family-owned shrimp shop who loves the idea and the mission So I'm trying to work with them to just have a full operation running out of Ireland where they're printing shirts and packaging cans. And that way, when everything's being shipped from Ireland instead of from the US, shipping's a whole lot cheaper, and then it helps canned goods be more accessible worldwide.
That's awesome. That's
Cool.
awesome.
I am in two minds whether to order one after this call.
That's we should do that. We should definitely do that.
Yeah.
What's your
We'll
favorite?
send you a picture of us wearing the t-shirts.
Yeah. You
What's
guys
your
look
favorite
good.
animal? What's your favorite animal?
Dude, I like cats, man. I'm a cat guy.
You're- You're a cat guy. What about your favorite
Yeah.
season?
Season, I mean, I really kind of hate summer just because it's about 120 degrees in the summer here in Arizona, in Phoenix. I love winter because I do a lot of snowboarding. I love the mountains, so I snowboard a lot in the winter. And then I also like golfing and being out in nature, and that's just more fun when it's not 120 degrees out. So I'd say fall, winter, spring, just anything but summer.
Yeah, anything but summer. Interesting. And then final one, I promise. If this is a bit of a curveball for the people in the States. Listen to this, curveball is a very American term. If TikTok was to just fucking die tomorrow, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, basically there's just the governments are like, look, guys, you're all going to have to go back and get normal fucking jobs. What are you going to do with yourself? What would you do with yourself?
Well, I don't think canned goods is 100%. I mean, it is very TikTok dependent, but I think it's more just, it's not as TikTok dependent as it is, Gen Z viewership dependent. And that all the Gen Z viewership happens to be on TikTok right now, but if those were to be eliminated, some other platform would pop up and then we'd just follow. Or maybe if all social media were to be banned forever, we find whatever channel that all of Gen Z is watching on TV. Or we negotiate with the stores that Gen Z shops in. There's just a huge market of young people right now who want to shop sustainably and know that they're making a difference with every purchase that they make. And right now that market's all on TikTok, so that's where we are. But we follow the market.
Love that.
That's cool.
Love that.
Also,
So-
where can we expect to see your documentary?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's right now we're just filming everything and seeing what we'll do with it later. I think the ultimate
Yeah,
goal
man.
would be if we can really build canned goods up to be a super big company. I'm sure Netflix, HBO, they'd be happy to buy the documentary, and we'll see what streaming
Yeah.
service we can get it on.
Yeah, man, I'm
We'll see.
100% rooting for you. I'm gonna back you all the way.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, we're
Thank you.
there'll be a lot of people following you, Scott, I'm sure. So, I mean, just go buy canned goods, I guess, and like check out Instagram.
CannedGoodsClothing.com or Canned Goods Clothing
Canned
on
Goods.
Instagram and TikTok.
There we go.
DM
Like,
me, say you found me on
follow.
on this podcast. I'll hook you up.
Both. There we go. Awesome.
Does that
Any-
mean me
any-
as well?
Sure. DM the Instagram.
Love that. All right, sick. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me,
Peace.
guys.